Hey, Tony Gasson here, popping in for a little quick video. I got a football game to go to with my sons and my youngest son bringing his friends, so I ain't got too long, probably 20, 30 minutes. But I want to touch on this because, this is a question that never goes out of style. And a lot of women ask this question, and we constantly thinking about it and talking about it, and it's some misunderstanding around it, but I want to bring some clarity to it just so you understand. So that way, when you meet a man, you can really look at who he is and get to know him in a different way. So, now one of the reasons that we think men are afraid to get married is because of finances. And that's one of the cover ups that men use is, oh, I'm not financially ready. I want to be financially secure before I get married. And for some men, meaning for 1% of men to 10% of men, that may be true. So understand that's true for some men, but on average, it's not really the case. It's a cover up because men, although we understand we are to provide, no man really just wants to be used. No man wants to be taken advantage of. So if it was really all about finances and we just worried about being financially secure, then that means every man who says that is saying they want to just have all this money so that their wife can live off of them. And it kind of goes against what you see every man saying and talking about and being told. That's why you have so many men today asking women, what do you bring to the table? Well, if a man was just so focused on being financially secure before getting married, then the question of what do you bring to the table would not come out of anybody's mouth. So it's not really about finances because deep down, a man, although he wants his finances to be in order or headed in the right direction, every man wants a woman that he can build with, a woman that he knows is with him for him and not for his money. And that's the problem why a lot of men who have money before they get married never allow themselves to fall in love or to trust their woman is because they already got money before they got a woman and they don't know if it's them or the money that the woman really wants. And it's hard to tell. You can't really tell. So, and a woman's not gonna show it that, oh, I'm just here for the money. She's not gonna show that. And so he getting all this good treatment. He getting 3 meals a day. He getting on the man. He getting all of this right here, but he doesn't really know if it's him or the money. And I'll be honest with you now, money does some things to women. And a lot of ladies don't want to admit that. A lot of ladies do not want to admit that. But when a man got some money on him, I'm going to tell you, women act different. I hate to break it to you. I hate to break it. I know we got the comment warriors that, oh, I'm never impressed by money. Yeah, okay. You just, yeah. Yeah, that's what you say for the comments. But listen, I have seen otherwise. Do you hear me? Across the board, all races, all ages, that money have women acting funny. If the man money is low, a woman acting a certain way. That man money is high, a woman acting a certain way. And this is on average. You have an exception to the rule, but what you got to realize in any type of teaching, we're never talking about the exception to the rule. We're talking about the majority. So don't get caught up on the exception to the rule. And always remember, somebody hit a tree at 90 miles per hour and lived. That is the exception to the rule. Understand that. So you'll hear men say money. Another thing that you hear men say as a reason why they don't want to get married is because of sowing their wild oats. They're not ready to settle down. They can't trust themselves being faithful. That's another cover up. It's another cover up. Because at the end of the day, every man knows that he was living and breathing and doing just fine in his life before he ever lied down with a woman. And he knows that 1 out of 4 black men end up in the prison system at some point, and there are no women. And he knows that he may have a job to where his woman is not with him. He may be deployed for a year. He may be on the road for weeks at a time. So it's several situations and circumstances that a man has to live without being with a woman. So to not get married because he is quote unquote afraid that he can't be faithful for the rest of his life, that's not true. That's not true. And it is, again, it's something that we grasp for when we can't really get to the root and identify and admit that this is the real reason. This is the real reason why we can't get married. And so you'll hear that, but it's not really real. And so you got to understand that. Now, see, as soon as I go to shoot a video, the hell gnat or whatever I think I be seeing in here go to moving around. So y'all got to forgive him. Now, so you hear money, you hear I got to get it out my system. Those are the two main things that you always hear. Now, another reason you'll hear men say that they don't want to get married is they feel like it's just a piece of paper or a government trap. It's the government trying to get in our business and get us on paper so that they can control us. That's another excuse. Don't nobody believe that. He does not believe that. And he knows good and well that is not the truth. Hey, y'all gotta forgive me now. So the thing gonna get disrespectful. Now, anytime I do a video where I'm hitting on a few key points, 3 things this, 5 things that, here go this mosquito or this fly. It look like a mosquito. Now, you know, we live by some water, so it could be that when I had the door open too long. And see, that ain't nothing but the enemy. Getting in that thing, trying to disrupt the message. Because they don't want this good to go out. So understand that. And see, even though the thing didn't bite me and flew right in front of me, it got me scratching my head thinking I got bit in the head by it. And I know it didn't bite me. So now listen to me. You'll hear that man know good and well that marriage is not a government conspiracy. Because it's not a single thing in my life have changed since I got married, other than, as far as the government is concerned, other than, guess what? When they gave out stimulus checks, marriage actually benefited you, because if you by yourself, let's say you make $100K, $120K at your income as a man, if you single, you couldn't have got the whole stimulus check because it was like $95,000. That was the limit, or $99,000 or $75,000, whatever it was. But marriage, it was up to $150 or something like that. So if you make $140 and your wife happened to be at home taking care of the kids in this season, so she didn't file, she didn't add income to your $140, guess what? You got a stimulus check. So marriage actually benefits you with the government in certain ways other than hindering you. And so men know this not no government conspiracy, and it's too many people, and it's too many married people. Are the country in debt, trillions of dollars. You think they got the money and the time to have a staff looking at the married couple's names? Okay, yeah, so we got this name in here, Tony Gaskins. Okay, so let's track them and let's track their every move with the other hundreds of millions of people who married, and we're gonna track them, and we're gonna drop a bug out the sky that fall into their arm, and it just track everything they do, because this is what we do to married couples, because this is a government trap. It's like, come on now. And if you got a man who's saying that and he genuinely believe that, he probably think the earth is flat. He probably believe in aliens and UFOs and all the other stuff. He probably think everything is a conspiracy. That's the kind of man that while you sleeping, he... You can't even rest well. You can't even rest well because this man, and anything you're trying to do, hey, what you doing? What you doing now? You know the government, hey, hold on now. Hey, Dr. Sebi said it's something in there. Listen. See, Jesse, you got itching. You see what I mean? If a man believe that, okay, all right, he might be the one. He might be in the 1% that believe like that, and you gonna find out. The longer you deal with him, the longer you wasting time with him, believing that marriage is a government trap, you're gonna find out that that man is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Now I'm gonna tell you the number one reason why men are avoiding marriage, and it's because of their upbringing. Drum roll. I know it. You expected something deep. Deep. I'm gonna tell you the number one reason. As I go down thousands of men that I have seen and evaluated and been around, the men, when I get to the root of it, now that's the root of it. Now the fruit of it, they'll say, "Oh, I want to have my finances in order," or they'll say, "Oh, I want to get it all out my system. I want to have it all out my system so that when I get married, I can be faithful." Oh, it's a government trap. Oh, it's just a piece of paper. Oh, this is all the different. Oh, she gonna leave with half. Oh, it ain't no benefit to a man because I build her up and I build my net worth and then I make one mistake and then I lose half of my money. And how does it benefit me? I saw a guy post the other day. How do marriage benefit a man when a woman don't want to help pay no bills? She don't want to pay no bills, and y'all want to be taken care of. But then if we go through a divorce, you quick to want half, but you ain't want to put in half. And so that's another little mindset. But listen, I'm going to tell you what it really is. It's the upbringing. Most 90% of the men who don't want to be married did not have a father in the home who was married to his mother. 90% of the men who don't want to get married, even when you look at the rappers and athletes that you see that aren't married, if you listen to their story, you're going to find out that 90% of them did not have a father in the home. And that's why they are not married or wait forever to get married, because you never heard about their father being married to their mother. So here's the thing. Men learn by example. So when a man learned how to cook crack, he got an example. When a man learned how to sell drugs, he got an example. When a man learned how to sleep with a woman, he got an example. When a man learned how to do a trade or play a sport, he got an example. So because we have so many fatherless homes, boys are growing up without an example of what a husband is, what a husband does, what a husband says, what a husband looks like. And then on the flip side of that, he got a bad example. So he saw his mom being abused. He saw his mom being cheated on. He saw his mom being cursed out. So he had a bad example of what marriage is. And that threw him off. And he said, I don't want this stress, this trauma, this pain, this drama. I would rather be single. But here's the thing. Men cannot live without women. So the very men who say they don't want to be married, you will notice they are attached at the hip to a woman. They keep a woman, even if it's multiple different women, 3-4 women at once, or if it's just one woman that they locked in on and that they loving and that they helping but not marrying, that they having children with but not marrying. It's the example of marriage and not knowing what all it entails, what it represents. I remember in my family growing up, it was some men on my dad's side who would not marry their woman. They lived with their woman. They was together 20 plus years. And I would ask my dad, I said, Dad, why aren't they married? He said, they believe that marriage is bad luck. They believe that when you get married, everything changes and that it jinx your relationship. So that's why they're not married. And they weren't raised up, religious to where sex outside of marriage is sin. So they didn't believe that. So if you don't have some type of conviction, some type of belief system, then a lot of men won't make sense of a marriage if they didn't see that growing up. If the reason why, and I'm gonna tell you, because I got a lot of homeboys who are not married. And a lot of the ones who not married or really struggle with marriage or multiple marriage did not have a father in the home as an example who set an example. And I see that. And I realized that the reason why I started looking for a wife at the age of 16 is because my father was in the home, married and loving my mother. And so to me, that was manhood. That represented life. That is what you do as a man. But if I did not have that, if I did not see that, then I would just be out here spreading my wild oats until until I look up to somebody else. So there are men who did not have an example in the home and they get married. But again, we're not talking about the exception to the rule. We're talking about the majority. But the men who get married and they did not have an example, they're doing it out of a longing for. They want what they did not have versus doing what they saw. And that comes down to the person, to the personality of the man. The other thing is this man may have admired his friend's father, may have admired his coach, his teacher, and saw that he was married. And so the father figure that he saw in his life, he saw a marriage and what that exemplified, what that looked like. I remember a man coming up to my dad when I was young and he said, "You are the goal. I love your family. I love what you're doing and I want to be like you someday." And I remember watching that man grow up and get married and was married for, decades, but all the time cheating on his wife, sleeping with all these other women, and just was never faithful. But that particular man did not have a father. Never knew his father, never had a father in his life, never heard of his father, never saw his father. And we from a small place. So I would have heard or known of his father, but did not get to see a father loving his mother. So when he got into a marriage, did not know how to appreciate and respect, how to lead and how to love as a man. So this is the thing. So I know the question will be asked, well, Tony, what if I'm a single mother and I'm raising a son? How do I make sure he's going to be ready for marriage? And that's where you got to go in your bag. That's where you got to be creative. That's where you got to get some outside help. You might hire a life coach to talk to your son, and you have to articulate and say, listen, this didn't work out for me yet, but I don't want this to define you. I want you to understand what love is, what a relationship is, and you teach him how a man should carry himself and how a man should love. And although women say, well, a woman can't teach a man how to be a man, you can't teach him everything about manhood, but he will value your lessons. He will value your heart. He'll value what you tell him. I never forget when my homeboy, when I lost my virginity in 9th grade and everybody else was losing their virginity and my homeboy was still a virgin. And I said, hey man, why you ain't getting you none? He said, man, my mama told me to keep my thing in my pants. I was like, that's why you ain't doing it? He was like, yeah, man, that's what my mama told me. I'm gonna listen to my mama. And guess what? He had a single mother. She eventually got married, but then later got divorced again. But he valued and respected his mom's word. A lot of times women won't teach their son what they know they could teach their son because they feel inadequate and they feel like he won't hear their voice, and they just mope and complain and pout because they don't have a man in their life. Like that's gonna change something, instead of stepping up and saying, hey, I'm gonna be the mom and the daddy for now, and I'm gonna teach him what I know or what I'm learning. If your son hit 16, he old enough to watch these videos. He jacking off anyway. He probably already watched pornography, all in the kind of stuff. He old enough to watch these videos to see what a real man look like, to see a man that respect marriage and praise marriage and promote marriage, so that he could learn from a distance. It's all about just providing resources. It's all about, put them in sports or put them in a extracurricular club like a coding club, or, put them around masculine, healthy, responsible men. Like do a vibe check on this man. Now don't put him around no man that get a little make the hair on your neck stand up now. Just to have him in something, find something where this man respectable, This man is married. He got a family. He show his wife. He show his kids. He known in the community for being an upstanding, respectable person. You ain't hearing no rumors about this man. His name is good. And you checking and you looking. Put your son on that man's sports team, on that man, Bible study club or whatever it may be. And you do that. And I might start me a little group for teenage boys to meet once a month on Zoom eventually. When I get the time, I don't like being committed to certain little schedules because my life be all over the place. Like right now I got to go. So listen to me. That's the real reason today men are avoiding marriage. They don't have a blueprint. They don't have an example. And it's not my example because he doesn't know me. He doesn't respect me. He doesn't love me. He doesn't care for me. I'm not his father. So my example, because he's not around me 24 hours a day and he know how shiesty men are, he know how conniving men are, he know how nasty men could be, he assumes that I'm saying this for money. He assumes that I'm fake, that I'm a charlatan, that I'm a fake guru, even though he'll never see me call myself an expert or a guru. Men don't trust men on average. So he doesn't respect my marriage and the example that I'm setting as a grown man. He's a man and he's seen so much that made him doubt. So men really want to learn and grow from their father that they love. And once they older and they set in their ways, some men got the wherewithal to respect a man and learn from another man. Now, a teenage boy, that could be different. His mind is still being formed and up until the age of 25 pretty much. So he can learn from different resources and examples. But most men, they won't look at another man and believe that that man is genuine, true, real, and authentic. And so that is the reason why a lot of men are not marrying today. And so you have to understand that. And as a woman, what you have to do is in your talking to this man, that's why I'm saying don't be sleeping with him. Don't jump into bed with him, trying to keep him and trap him by putting that thing on him. Talk to him, get to know him, build with him so that you can hear about his upbringing, where he comes from, what his life was like. You can hear about the trauma, the toxicity, and that's going to tell you what he's battling, what he's dealing with, and what he has to overcome. And then you get to identify if you want to move forward with that challenge. You get to see what kind of work he's doing. So if he didn't see an example of a loving father in the home, loving his mother or grandmother or aunt or whoever he was raised with, then he has to battle that. But if he's not saying, oh, my mentor, I watch such and such online, he need to be able to say, so if he say he don't like me, he don't watch me, it should be another man that he mentioned that is a upstanding, respectable man that he watches. It should be this person, that person. Like in essence, this right here, on when I do man-to-man videos on Fridays, and I got a playlist called Man to Man, in essence, that's like a form of therapy for a man or coaching. And so he could have that in his life and be growing from a virtual mentor. That's how I changed my life, listening to Zig Ziglar, because it was like a virtual mentor. And I also have a father, so I was able to talk to my father. But in areas that my father didn't speak on or touch on or know much about, I was able to hear from Zig Ziglar. And I was able to learn from a white man as well as a black man. So it gave me this duality. So I get to say, okay, this is how a white man from Mississippi, this is how he view the world. This is how a black man from Florida view the world. So I got to take and see the similarities, the differences, put it together. Then I'll listen to a Hispanic man, listen to an Asian man, listen to a man over 50, listen to a man under 50, or listen to a man under 30, and just put it all together and create my own puzzle of manhood and success and growth. And so when you talking to this man ought to be feeding himself and filling those voids that he has from his childhood. So It ought to be books or that he's reading or audio books that he's listening to or podcasts that's moving his life forward. Not just in how to trade stocks, how to day trade, how to invest in cryptocurrency, how to do real estate. No, how is he developing as a man? How is he learning how to be a husband? How is he learning how to be a good father? How is he learning how to be a real man? Not just a business owner, not just a successful man with money, but a real man. Hey, this is Tony Gaskin. God bless you. We'll talk soon.